Surprise, surprise, this car kicked my butt once again. This video is a bit of a longer video, and just stay tuned. I will have it solved in this video, but it took me a lot more than I expected. So, I reviewed some of the footage, right? And I realized what's happening after looking over some things and doing some slow-mos and checking things out. I'll do a little video glimpse for you guys there on where the belt, you'll get to see it here in a second. Yeah, the belt is just flying everywhere, as you can see, and that's not good. We can't be having that. And it has a lot to do with the belt's weight. So when a belt comes around a pulley, this is actually a sanding belt, but whatever. So if the belt's going this direction, when it comes around here, the weight of the belt has to be pushed back this way. Otherwise, the weight wants to sling. You know, when you sling something, it wants to like do a slingshot effect. It always wants to throw it away from the pulley. This is more of a standard sized pulley. The pulley that's on there is much, much larger. So the bigger the pulley, the more of a sling effect it's going to get. So what's happening is because the tensioner is way out here and there's nothing in between, is it's slinging out and then it's having to come back to get to the tensioner, and so it's doing this. I think that's causing the belt to jump and move around too much. Alright, last night after making that video, I had some consideration about this belt scenario, and it was actually while I was making the video technically, and I was thinking about why the belt had shifted, and I made the video saying that, you know, maybe that long span had something to do with it, and perhaps, but I thought more and more about it, and the idler affected the belt moving. So if you remember from the previous video, the belt, I had it in the center, and it did not move, even when I revved it up. Being that it did not move with it against the edge of the idler that's sitting there, it made me realize that if I can get that idler to tilt a little bit perhaps, I'll be able to control the belt. Keep it on the right spot. Use that as my alignment mechanism, I guess you could call it. I don't know what else to call it. But what I want to attempt is I'm going to take a washer. I'm going to, you know, normally it's squared off, right? I'm going to take and create a bevel on a washer. And then I'm going to use that washer for when I clamp it down, you know, the bolt will tweak a little bit. So when I tighten the bolt down, it'll take that pulley and it'll twist it just a little bit. And you guys get to watch. So enjoy the video. Well, I was making an attempt at sanding that washer. I even added a notch to it to indicate which side's the thinner side. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's going to be extremely hard to keep that thing in the position I want it to be in. And so I decided I'm gonna fart with this a little bit, see if I can find two heavy washers and get rid of these little pieces of tin that are badly warped. This thing is really concave. Well, concave from this side, convex from this side, but you get what I mean. The bolt concaved it. So I am going to look around and see what I can find here. Alright, so the first try here, because of the fact that those little plates were jacked up, you know, crushed or whatever, I got a washer here. Just a heavier duty, decent thickness washer. Put it on this side. and it fits perfectly on just that little bearing area. So that's going to take care of that area. In fact, I think what I'll do is put this guy on there, because if that bearing were to fail ever, it would be able to fall off because there's nothing to hold the plastic on. At least this will give the guy a warning and be able to come to a stop, because it'll make a bunch of noise. So anyway, I made this little piece of aluminum that's nice and thick. It's the correct thickness, I believe, to make up for the difference. I did not create a wedge on it yet because of how badly those plates were. Now this one will straighten out as soon as I tighten it. It's a little goofy now. As soon as I tighten it, it'll be straight. Because of that heavy washer. That washer is easily 4 times thicker than that little piece of tin. So I'm going to go ahead, put this guy on here. It is flat currently. It fits really nicely. I mean, it is almost difficult to put on and off of the bolt. It's such a perfect fit. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on there as a flat, in hopes that the whole problem this whole time was these goofy crushed plates. And we'll see what happens. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and throw the laser tool on here. Okay, so here we are. We got the little laser tool ready. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this guy here, and I'm going to show you where it lands on the crank as best I can. When you look at this tool, that dot is the center of the tool, and the laser is in the center of the tool, basically, and it lines up with the second rib pretty much exactly, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bring this over here. We're going to zoom in. Okay, so that one, it looks like it's on the inside of the second rib by a little bit, from your perspective. Now the weird thing is I'm seeing that on the camera, but with my eyes, it actually looks like it's on the center of the rib. So I'm not sure what kind of tricks the camera is playing, but we'll roll with it. According to my eye, it is on the center of the rib. So it's kind of strange that it's different. Anyway, so that is from the tensioner side. So there's the tensioner. Now we'll go over to the other side and we'll compare. First thing I'm going to show you here is the power steering pulley and the alternator. Set it on the very outside, so it's supposed to line up with the second. Now that one is, according to both me and the camera, the gap underneath or behind the second rib. And I'm able to hold the camera more straight. Maybe, I think that's what it was. It was just the angle of the camera. 'Cause it is a little bit over to the right on here from the alternator. Now if we go down to the crank, you can see in the camera it's on the slot right between the two ribs. Now I'm going to see what it looks like to myself. I also identify with it being in the same location. So it's in slightly. So now I'm going to go to the power steering pulley. This one might be the hard one that I can't show you guys, but we'll see if I can weasel this in here or not. Kind of see it there. Now the power steering pulley is lining up perfect on the second rib. So that to me makes me think that the alternator is off, and I need to adjust it. Okay, the belt is on, everything is tight. Let's see what happens. I'll start it and just idle it first, and then I'll rev it up if it stays. And it moved, I think. It moved one notch on the crank, so I need to play with that idler pulley. It is not happy with the alternator pulley either, so I'm going to put that alternator pulley back to where it was. It does not like that at all. Power steering is in the right good spot, so the hell with that gap, or that spacer I spent all that time making. I'm taking that out. Since that made it angry, I'm going to put this back on and start it up without the shim, in hopes that it makes a difference on the crank, but I highly doubt it. It seems like that just messed up the alternator in my opinion, but we'll find out here in a minute. So it still jumped. Go figure. The alternator did not jump though, so that's good. That's where it should be. I am going to go ahead and taper that damn tensioner, or idler. I gotta figure out which direction I need to go with it and start the taper process, I guess. Okay, as I suspected, I don't have the room to shove my finger back here. I can feel the very edge of it, and I can feel myself turning it, but I can't tell where this little notch is. It's just too difficult. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little drill and give it a tang that locks it into position. I'm going to be using this stainless steel welding filler rod. Okay, now that fits rather loosely in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this hole with a bolt in here to guide where this has to actually be on the motor, and then run the drill bit through it to get the hole drilled. And then once I drill the hole to the depth required, I will take this guy, put it in here after I peen this circle back shut. So I'll just take and smash it a little bit so it can't come back the other way. So I'll go ahead and get this lined up and get that going too. I won't be able to show you that on video, there won't be enough room. So this is rather interesting. I got it in place, and I was looking over the pulley itself, and I couldn't help but notice that there is a noticeable difference in the angle at which the pulley is sitting. I can actually see it. Even though there was only 7 thousandths of material that I removed, apparently that was a significant amount because it is visible to the naked eye as far as how the pulley is sitting. Now hopefully I didn't go too far and it causes more issues. But we will find out soon enough whether that's the case or not. Well, the belt did not shred. That's usually a good sign. It's like it almost flopped over, but it didn't quite. I might have to review the video for this one. That's interesting. Alright, I'm going to fire it up again and rev it this time, see what happens. Alright, let's see what we got. That was a little over $3,000 and then $4,000. So confused right now. It's like it's literally riding in the middle of the cogs, which I didn't even think was possible with a serpentine belt like this. You know what, just for fun, I'm going to put it in the middle section of the ribs and then try it again. Okay, so now it definitely jumped one toward the front on both the crank and the idler, or tensioner I should say. I may have to revisit the theory about having an idler between that tensioner and crank pulley of some sort. You know, the ECS kit, that's that supercharger tensioner kit, that actually tensions right in that area, and then of course the idler would be instead a supercharger, a solid pulley with a tensioner alongside that, but it's a manual tensioner, so 2 solid pulleys. And that leaves a lot less long distances for the belt. It pretty much eliminates all long distances of the belt. The longest distance then would be from the alternator to the water pump, and the alternator is so close to another pulley it won't jump. So what I want to do is where that belt comes around, I want to put an idler or something of that nature so that it's forced to follow the direction it needs to go in rather than fly out beyond that and then come back. So my next step is to try and find some form of an idler that I can get on there. There's 2 bolt holes on the timing cover. I'm going to try and utilize those. The idler that I tweaked, it did help a little bit. It's trying to stay back, but it can't stay back. So something's still not aligned quite perfectly. I might tweak that a little bit more and see if it helps. My concern is it might ride on an edge of the back side of the belt, and then it'll cause a premature wear scenario. So what I want to do is I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to reset the belt in its all the way back position, take a look at things, and evaluate if I need to mess with that. And then I'll go ahead and build the secondary idler to keep the belt stable. Hopefully I have some success finally finishing this horrible, horrible scenario of belt angerment. This thing needs some medication for its anger management problems. This belt is so angry every time I rev it. All the belts are all the way back, or on all the pulleys it's all the way back. I'm going to put a small mark on the idler pulley that I adjusted. Do a little bit of this liquid Teflon so I can see where it wears on the belt, or where it's pushing against it before I adjust anything. I'll be darned. So the mark I'm seeing is on the inside of the belt, which would mean it's pushing it out on that idler. That tells me I need to tip it a little bit more. Holy cow. This might actually work out. I'm going to pull that off of there and take a look at where it's worn on the actual tensioner itself. See where that white stuff wore off. So I'm looking at this, and it's completely worn off here, just running it that little bit. It completely smeared that off. And this was starting to move, and it was contacting over here, but not as aggressive because it hardly moved. So it's definitely pushing harder on this side. Now when I tipped it, I set it up so the belt rides on the back side here. So it's pushing this way, right? So it's rubbing like if the belt was pushing here, it's rubbing like if it was tipped this way, even though I tried tipping it this way. So apparently I need to tip it even more so that way than what I did. And maybe I can accomplish making this belt so it doesn't move just by adjusting this a little bit more. And as far as the stability, I won't be able to accomplish that until I actually address the sling around the pulley like I talked about just a minute ago. Alright, I actually got you guys on high speed mode. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so what I see, not sure what you guys see yet, but from what I see here so far, I'm sure you guys are going to see that thing flopping like crazy, and I will later too. But what I'm seeing is the belt has moved over just that way, ever so friggin' slightly, not even a full cog. So it's like I need to go just a titch more because it's trying to work its way over there, but it didn't work its way over there. So I am definitely on to the solution to the problem. So now what I need to do is I need to address that bottom part of the belt and make sure it doesn't fly around all crazy. So I've done one last little adjustment here, and I finally think I got it. I did not rev it much yet because it wasn't warmed up at all, but that's first thing in the morning. Here's the next day. So car, I brought it up slowly and cautiously up to 4,500, I'd say, about. It was a little above 4, between 4 and 5. I just went until I didn't want to go anymore. Just because, like I said, the car wasn't warmed up. So I let it build some oil pressure, let it sit there for a while, running the oil through, and then I brought the RPMs up. gradually. I don't like snapping throttles unless the cars are warmed up, or at least, you know, a little warmed up. They don't have to be hot, but at least a little warmed up. So anyway, I got that done. I checked the video quick just on the camera. I can't slow down that high-speed video. You can see it now. And from what I see, it looks like the belt is a lot more stable. It looks like it stayed where it's at. The last adjustment that I made was two things. I changed the pulley, that idler pulley that I added. As you can see on the video, it's different than the last one. If you go back, you'll see that. I put a wider one on. So this one actually covers the full width of the belt, and it sits in a little bit better spot. The other one was kind of off a little bit, so the belt was kind of going on the edge, and I don't like that at all. I don't want to cut a belt due to that. So I changed it to that, and then the idler that's on the other side, the one that was there to begin with, the one that I added the shim to with the aluminum, I built my own shim. That one I cranked the shim a little bit more, so I made it a little more crooked, and I think that's what took care of the problem. The car is finally fixed. It's not jumping the belt is not moving, it's totally stable. It still does the vibrate thing after that idler, but it looks like it's doing a lot better job. Now I'm going to review the slow-mo and see what it looks like. If there's nothing alarming, this is the last you'll hear from me. So please like, share, subscribe to the video, and my job here is done. Thank gosh, it's done. I am so tired of dealing with a belt issue on one car. It's been a week and a half now, and I've done only a couple small projects in between. But most of it has been concentrated on this damn thing. So, some cars, like I said, disaster to work on. This is one of those that nothing is going the way I want it to. The customer is in full agreement there because he's tried a couple of things and nothing works for him either. We kind of laugh about it and joke about it because it's just one of those cars that you can't win. Once it is working, it will work great. But until it is, you just can't win with the thing. So now he's got to work on the tune. I'm going to change out the cam sensor yet today, and or not the cam sensor, but the wire. And the rest of it is history. Should be good after that. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.